Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy Tuesday to everyone out there in YouTube and D-Live land, and welcome to the One Man Low Council and episode 188 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, where tonight it is essentially an open forum, so most topics will be completely on the table, will completely be up for discussion today. Of course, there are certain things that I am just simply not allowed to talk about or would not be appropriate for me to talk about, and if you're here in Asgard and you're a part of the Asgardian community, you already know what those things are. But obviously, there's been a lot of things going on in the world over the last week. Again, apologies for not having the stream on Saturday. Obviously, as if you follow me on my Discord, Twitter, or on the YouTube community tab, you would have known that my parents were in town, and so I was spending time with them on Saturday. And thank you so very much for everyone that posted on that, respond to that about how indeed family is what is most important, and that family always must come first. So I appreciated everyone for understanding that. And again, apologies for not having the show, but indeed, family indeed must come first, especially when I don't get to see my parents nearly as often as I used to when I lived in New Orleans. And luckily, it's not too far away. But with everything going on with COVID, and obviously with the baby very, 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 very soon coming into the world, there's obviously been a lot of craziness and a lot of things that would keep normal interactions a little bit more limited. But anyway, thank you very much for being here. Welcome indeed to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's say hello to my D-Live fam first off. So a huge shout out to Mr. Peabody, Captain Mr. Roy. We also have Phone Nemo over there as well. Captain Dean Heiss in the chat. Also, how is it going, good sir? It's okay, man. How's it going? It's okay, man. How's it going? Mr. Peabody says, hey, Odin, have you heard they are making a sequel to The Passion of the Christ? Yes, so this is something he's been working on for, I think, the better part of 10 years or so. Basically going back to when the first film came out. Obviously, it was a pretty big financial success, especially for a rated R film, let alone a faith-based movie. And it's going to be focused specifically on the resurrection of Jesus. And there's a lot of interesting things, apparently, that they plan to do. I know Jim Caviezel has been giving a lot of interviews about that recently, especially. He has a new movie out called Infidel, which is actually a film I want to see. I saw him do an interview on a couple of different places, and it's just really cool to see an actor in Hollywood be very shameless about his own faith, especially his own Catholic faith. And it's just really refreshing to see that, because it's very rare that you see that really in Hollywood nowadays, especially with an actor of such talent and someone that has become in many ways a household name because of obviously being the person playing the role of Jesus is a pretty big deal, but then there's also all the other things that he's been able to do in his career as well. So I've heard Infidel is a pretty good film. I hear it's a thriller and that it's a lot of fun. And it is indeed playing in both of my local AMCs, and so it's definitely on my list of things to try and go see, especially be some of the last films I'll be able to see, because we're getting very, very close to Baby Boy entering into the world, probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So it is indeed becoming much, much closer. But yes, Phonemo and Mr. Peabody, I think it would be great. And Phonemo says, I want it to be called Too Passion, Too Christ, like Too Fast, Too Furious. I think that is fantastic, Phonemo. Thank you very much for that recommendation. So let's go ahead and shout out to my YouTube peeps. We got Lord Toth. How is it going? How's it going? Lord Toth says, even though I might not make the stream on time, well, Lord Toth, as long as you were here, I'm happy. Brian Barth, hello to you. Slicer Neons is also in the chat. We also got Christian Delome. What's going on, Christian? Joseph Ippolito is here as well. Orange Hat Reviews is in the chat. How is it going? Enjoy that mini vacation, good sir. HyperDX13 is in the chat as well. How is it going? 13th Warrior in the chat. How's it going? We got Father Christopher Miller. Hail to you, Father. Father, I think that you might find this. I think you might find this to be a fun fact. So, I was able to get my hands on the Baronius Press edition of the traditional Roman office. So the traditional breviary. And it's just a beautiful set, and it's I was able to purchase that today, so I'm very excited for that to be coming in. It's something where I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. I did the Liturgy of the Hours for several months, the regular post-Vatican II Liturgy of the Hours, and obviously I found it to be spiritually beneficial, but I've obviously been very much drawn more towards traditional practices, and you all know I've been going to the Latin Mass, and I've been helping to serve at the Latin Mass especially. And so since I'm already using the mindset of the Latin Mass already in my just daily calendar and in my daily, in my weekly life, having a missal, rather not a missal, having a breviary to be able to line up with those Sundays is going to be very beneficial. Unfortunately, only one company has it. Only one company really offers it with the English and the Latin next to each other, because obviously I'm no Latin expert by any means. And sadly, it's from one company, and it's a little bit pricey, but I was able to save up for it. So I'm very, very excited for that, and thought that you might appreciate that, Father. Let's see. Alex McCarthy tagged me at 6:59 and says, "Howdy, Odin. How's it going? How's it going, Alex McCarthy? Glad to see you here." Soul Assassin in the chat. Super Enemy Gamer says, "Hey, what is up, my dude? How's it going, Super? How's it going? How's it going, Super? Hope you're doing very well." And if indeed you are on YouTube, please smash that like button. I would very much appreciate it. It costs nothing, and it helps tremendously. All right, Stephanie B, what's going on, Stephanie B? Yes, indeed. Tina will not be here this evening. She is indeed taking care of herself. Always take care of yourself. And so she will not be here this evening. She'll be enjoying some very well-deserved time off, taking care of herself. But Stephanie B, my general, is here in the chat to help us throughout the evening. Nathan Slay, how's it going, good sir? Eric K, who's a member of the channel, says, "Hail all, hail to you, Eric K." James Dashe, what's going on? Yevo in the chat. Yevo, what's going on, man? I feel like I don't see you around too much these days. I miss it. Hypernex13, my brother, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, Hypernex13. Hope you're doing well. Nathan Slay says, "Happy Tuesday, Odin? Question mark, exclamation point." Did you mean to put the question? Mark Lizeth, what's going on, good sir? Mark Lizeth, good to see you here. Always great to see the Modrotics in the chat. They are indeed good people from the land of Nerdrotic. Orange Reviews, who's a member at 701, says, "Odin, do not apologize for being with family. We all understand." Well, thank you very much, Orange Chat. Lord Toth follows that up with, "Family comes first indeed." Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all. I really do appreciate it. But again, I missed y'all. I do enjoy doing these streams. I do these because they're fun. They're entertaining for me and hopefully also for you. And so I definitely did miss it, but it was nice being able to spend that time with family. The new number 2, what's going on, good sir? Says, "It's okay. Family comes first." Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Lord Toast says, "Thor." Yes, indeed. Baby Thor on the way. Mark Lizette says, "I got my Blu-rays today. Thanks for sending them." Mark Lizette, glad that you got them, good sir. Yeah, so for anyone that won the giveaway that was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I was giving away different Blu-rays that I had, those have all been sent out. So if you've not gotten them already, you should be getting them pretty soon. Let's see. Alice McCarthy tagged at 702 and says, "Open forum. Oh yeah. Alexa Bliss Fiend is the best thing in the WWE at the moment." I have not watched the WWE in probably 2 months at this point, if not more. So I have no idea what's going on. So are you saying that Alexa Bliss is Sister Abigail? Because if that's the case, that's awesome. Any wrestling fans out there will get the reference. Orange Eye Reviews 702 says, "Odin, I predict Thor will arrive inside of the 2 weeks." Well, it really depends. I mean, based on just different appointments, it seems actually more likely that we'll have to induce more so than anything happen naturally. So it actually probably won't happen within 2 weeks. There's always a chance, but it's not guaranteed. Lord Toth says, "Be back after dinner. Hold the drinks of Valhalla." Well, Lord Toth, enjoy your dinner. Good sir. Greta Zenner, what's going on, Greta? Greta says, "Hello, Odin. Hope you, Freya, and baby Thor are doing well." Thank you very much. Yes, Freya had a checkup today. Everyone is healthy. Everyone's doing very well. Again, within about 2 weeks or so, we will have baby Thor entering into the world. Thank you very much for that, Greta. And Greta, congratulations again on the tremendous channel growth that we've been seeing over there. And it's been really cool to see. I know you only posted one video since then, to my knowledge, unless you've posted a new one since I started the stream. But it's been awesome. So keep on making those videos, and I'm glad to see the comment section. There's a lot of people putting out different ideas of things to do research on and cover. So I'm just very happy to see that happening. So shout out to Greta. If you've not subbed to Greta's channel, please make sure you do. She is a wholesome person who loves movies, loves movie history. And I feel like especially, I love the group that I run with. I love the Phantom Menace. I love everyone that I'm, associated with. But every now and then we all do need kind of like a detox. We kind of need someone that's just going to be just pure of heart, someone that is going to be just showing just nothing but love of cinema and love of movies and passion. And Greta gives that in droves. And so if you ever need a little bit of a palate cleanser, someone that is not going to just be covering the news or is not just going to be taking things necessarily from a more, critical or negative perspective. Not to say that she can't be critical, because obviously she can. But just, again, from a more historical-minded perception, I think it's something that we all need in our life. And Greta does a great job of that. So thank you again, Greta, for being here. And shout out to you. Z Wolf, how's it going, Z Wolf? Glad to see you here. Hypernex13 tag 703 and says, I just saw Mr. H Reviews post a video about Tom Hardy being cast as the new Bond. What do you think of that, my brother? Hypernex13, I've heard this, and last time I checked, this was simply in rumor territory, where it had not yet been confirmed. And so, let's see here. The Guardian, according to The Guardian, it says, why Tom Hardy as the new Bond is too good to be true. And then 2 days ago, The Independent says the 8 actors rumored to take over. So looks like this is still very much in rumor territory. And so obviously you always want to take it with a grain of salt. Let's see. It says here, if a post on an obscure Star Trek blog is to be believed, Hardy will be the next 007. Could fans cope with his villainous side? And so basically it is just talking about how this is the rumor that's going around, and some people might like it, some people might not. So if it is true, because I'm still just keeping this as an if right now, because it has not been confirmed, I think it would be good. I think Tom Hardy's a brilliant actor. I think that he could pull it off pretty well. I think that the physicality is there. I will say this much, though. I feel like we've already gotten a very gritty, a very serious Bond in Daniel Craig, and I was kind of hoping that we would go in maybe a little bit of a different direction with it. I feel like every Bond, typically has their own personality and has their own, has their own way about them. They're not all the same. They're all the same character, but they're also all done differently. You know what I mean? And so what I think this would be, it'd be kind of a very similar vein to what we were already getting with the Daniel Craig rendition. So I think Tom Hardy is going to be great. I think he's going to be fantastic. But I am interested to see the direction that they try and go with that specific character. Let's see, 7AB at 703 says, Tina had a request to wish everyone happy Hobbit Day. It's Bilbo and Frodo's birthday. Yes, happy birthday to Bilbo Baggins and Frodo Baggins. That's something that my dad was a huge fan of The Hobbit, huge fan of Tolkien. And, he read The Hobbit to us when we were kids. He read some of the Lord of the Rings to us as well. And one of the things that he always celebrated was the birthday of Bilbo and Frodo. So thank you all thank you, Steph, and thanks, Tina. Shout out to Tina for the reminder of that. But yes, happy Hobbit Day to everyone out there. All right, let us see. Where are we in the chat? So Brian Barth, hail to you. Glad to see you here again. Slicer Neons at 70410 says, so how about the Emmys, eh? I want to mock it, but was raised to not speak ill of the dead. Yeah, so the Emmys dropped, 15 to 20% from last year. It's one of the all-time lows, and it doesn't surprise me. It's amazing how, they'll try and spin it to try and say, well, it's because there was no crowd and there were no stars and all this other nonsense. And they'll fail to realize most people are home. Most people are working from home. There's literally no excuse why someone will not be able to watch something, especially when you look to the fact that it's so easy to access people online nowadays. So it's just fascinating that people are trying to spin those numbers. So it failed because it's been getting woke, it's been getting political for years now, and this year it became even crazier. The fact that you had an actor on stage telling another person to say Black Lives Matter and saying, say it louder, say it louder, say it louder, was ridiculous. I hate when modern day politics is thrust into the discussion of anything that is supposed to be entertainment. Again, the Emmys, the Oscars, sporting events, they're all meant to be entertaining, not preaching, not trying to teach us something. If I want to be taught something, I'll watch a documentary. Just saying. But anyway, I've only seen really a couple of clips from the Emmys, and both of them made me want to barf. So I kind of was like, yeah, you know what? I don't really want to watch anything else from it because it just looks terrible. It looked awful, and I'm glad that it's failing. Thenotos Felicitas, how's it going? Glad to see you here. Eric K. Tag 704 says, I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. Eric K. Glad to see you here. Hyperdex13 says, Too Passion, Too Christ versus Too Fast, Too Furious versus R2D2, Dawn of Two-Ceptions. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that 222-ceptions, but you did the number 2 and then the word 2, and I got very confused. Nathan Slay tagged at 704. Says, I finally got to see Casino Royale, and while I thought it was good, I didn't think it was great for some reason. Oh, it's fantastic, man. Casino Royale is by far my favorite modern-day Bond film. I think the only one that even comes close would be GoldenEye. GoldenEye, just like a modern-day Bond, because there's so much nostalgia attached to GoldenEye, and the game on the N64 is still one of my all-time favorite games. Casino Royale, though, is solid. Like, Casino Royale is absolutely fantastic. By the way, Crazy Cat Guy, thank you for the $2 super chat and the $1.50 super chat. I'm assuming those were super stickers, so I will get to those as soon as the chat updates. But Brian, let's see. But Nathan Slay, I thought Casino Royale was fantastic. Brian Bart says, what do you think of Daniel Day-Lewis? Do you think he is one of the best up there with Marlon Brando? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Day-Lewis has some of the most iconic performances in his career. I was saying this, I think, last stream. I'm very sad that the last role that he did before he retired was The Phantom Thread, because the film was a bore. The film was just not good, and it was probably one of the most bland performances that he's ever given. Now, that doesn't mean that it was a bad performance, right? It's still Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't think he has a bad performance in his body, but the movie just was not compelling at all. And so I would definitely put him up there with a Marlon Brando type. You know, he's one of those old school classic actors where almost every performance he does, even if it's not a good movie, the performance itself is still good. And even Marlon Brando, we could point to say that he also had those kinds of performances. I would say Superman is an example of that, because as you all know, I think the ending of Superman, the movie, ruins the entire thing. They already had issues that you could get past for the most part, but the ending is just terrible. So I would say that Marlon Brando's performance in that, though, was epic. It was fantastic. Daniel Day-Lewis, I would say, is also fantastic. Father Chris Miller, Hail Father, says, traditional breviary. Interesting, yeah. So once it actually gets in, I'm excited to start to pick it up. And yeah, I'm very, very excited for it. Very, very excited for it. Especially with the baby on the way, I feel like I'm going to have a lot more time to, it seems counterintuitive, but if I'm going to be up for several hours, trying to make sure the baby is asleep, etc., well, then you know what? I'll have my breviary with me. Very excited for that. All right, then let us see. So the chat has finally jumped on me. So let's see. Crazy Cat Guy, thank you for the popcorn super sticker. And also thank you for the on-set director's chair super sticker as well. I really do appreciate it. All right. So, chat has jumped on me like it always does. Luckily, no comments have been skipped. Let's jump back over to D-Live fam real quick. We got 64 people watching. Please smash that like button if you would be so kind. I really do appreciate it very much so. All right, see here. So, Philly to Hobbit. Speaking of Hobbit Day, Philly to Hobbit's here. Says, are you excited for South Park's new episode that will tackle COVID-19? The pandemic special episode airs on Comedy Central on September 30th. I am so happy. I am so stoked. I love South Park. Some people have not been happy with their more recent seasons. I think Tegrity Farms was hilarious. I loved almost every second of Tegrity Farms. I've loved all of their more recent stories and all their most recent arcs. I just think that the show is so brilliant. The fact that they make these shows basically over the week in between episodes to keep everything modern and relevant is just awesome. The biggest thing that I hate about South Park is that they cut their episodes down. They used to be able to put out 15 to 20 episodes a season, and they would have a mid-season break, and then they would come back after the fact. And then obviously it takes a lot of work. Makes sense, right? It takes them a lot of work to do this stuff. And so now they've limited it to 10 episode seasons, and it just drives me crazy. So I'm very excited because if it's an hour episode, I'm hoping that it's still going to be one of 10 and that they're not going to try and put 2 episodes into one because I love it. I love South Park. I think they're clever. I think they have some of the best takes. They're a comedy show featuring cartoon kids who swear like sailors, and yet they have more morality. They have more good takes, especially when it comes to politics and culture, than anyone else that I've ever seen. It's amazing the kind of great takes that they have. It really is crazy. Let's see. Will Gentry looks like he was posting a song, I'm guessing. He then says, oh, There's now a stream time counter here on DLive. A stream? Yeah. You mean at the very top? Yeah, that has been there the last few streams. I first noticed it, I think, the last stream. And then I realized that it had been there for a while. Phonema says, Bond meets Mad Max? Yeah, pretty much, right? It'd be interesting to see how that would indeed play out. However, I will say that as far as Mad Max goes, Tom Hardy really didn't play Mad Max. Tom Hardy's a great actor, and I love him, but Mad Max Fury Road, not really a Mad Max movie. Camden Heist over on DLive says, I didn't even know the Emmys were on until someone mentioned in the chat during the Inquisition Sunday night. Yeah, seriously. Most people, I feel like, didn't know that it was going on, and you know what? Good. Because based on the results and based on the fact that freaking Watchmen won an Emmy, yeah, I'll pass. I will pass. All right, back over to YouTube. Rob D at 706 says, Hey Odin, what film franchises were you never able to get into? For me, it's Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, that makes me sad because 3 of the Indiana Jones films are pretty damn good. Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are also fantastic. Ghostbusters 2016 is not real. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action with practical effects. I love those movies. I love them. Even the third one. I love it. As far as franchises that I never got into, I can't think of too many classic franchises that I was never able to get into off the top of my head. I did just finish the entire Karate Kid franchise, though. I don't count the newer one. I love Jackie Chan, but I'm sorry, that's not Karate Kid. If Pat Morita is not in it, if Mr. Miyagi is not in it, it cannot be Karate Kid. So I was able to watch the third film, which I had never seen before. And man, I can see why that film has kind of gotten forgotten and gets, pretty bad ratings overall. It wasn't a bad movie per se. It just wasn't a very good movie either, especially when you compare it to the first one, which is classic. The second one, which I actually thoroughly enjoy. The third is just, it's something. It is something. And I'm someone that's always been a fan of the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. And I think the reason why is because when you had all 3 of those movies, and now that I've seen the third one especially, you had 3, you had your trilogy, and I feel like with especially Mr. Miyagi, there was more to tell with the story. And so I think taking it from a new student's perspective, I think was a smart move for them to do. And, I thought Hilary Swank did a great job with it. It's a younger Hilary Swank in the role. And I think she had just gotten out of doing Boys Don't Cry, or it was around the time after that, where she had obviously gotten a lot of attention. And it was good to see her in that kind of a role and that kind of performance. And I think my favorite part, though, of the next Karate Kid is when the monks start dancing. So she's playing the song, and it's like of that time when the movie came out, like an modern era song, and it's like a pop song. And and she's doing a kata, right? She's doing a form to the song. So the monks come in because they hear the music, and then all of a sudden, and she's like freaking out trying to leave. She turns the music off. They come in, turn it back on, and what do they start doing? They start doing this great dance, and they're just moving. I love it. And again, that one's definitely not for everybody, but it's one that I'm thoroughly enjoying. So yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure people will mention some. Thenotos Felicitas at 707 says, Addams Family motto, sic coriamus alus subjectatos nunc. We gladly feast on those who would subdue us. Yes! Thenotos Felicitas. I love the Addams Family movies. Addams Family and Addams Family Values are just like so much nostalgia for me. We used to watch those all the time as a family. My parents still to this day watch at least one, if not both, on Halloween. And I started that tradition myself last year as well because they're just so good. And I honestly, I don't know which one I prefer. Many would say the second one because of Debbie and the amazing performance in the movie. But I also really love the first one too. There's so many great lines. I love when you have Gomez Addams and he's like the stay-at-home dad that's out of work. It's fantastic. What? And Miss Gilligan? It's just so good. I love it. Joe Bag of No Nuts, how's it going? Nathan Slade, Tag 707. I really don't understand why people hate Temple of Doom. I think it's solid. Also, I didn't mean to put the question mark there. That's okay. I don't hate Temple of Doom. It's just my least favorite. I prefer Last Crusade. And I think, again, The Last Crusade, to me, I admit I have a bias because it deals with some Christian elements. Let's see. Super 707 says, I'm okay, thanks. Currently suffering the consequences of being an unmotivated student who forgot about half the assignments I have due this week. My teacher sent me an 80-page PDF. Help. Lord, 80 pages. I don't miss that. I'm glad I got my master's degree and then was like, oh, I'm good. I'm set. Are you sure you don't want to pursue a doctorate? Yeah, I'm sure. HyperX13 707. If you were a fictional son, which father would you want? Darth Vader, Vito Corleone, Thanos, or Mufasa? I'd want to be a Corleone for sure. Yeah, if I had to choose a father, probably Vito Corleone. The only reason why I would choose Darth Vader is because that means I would have the Force, and then I could, fly through space. But no, more realistically, Vito Corleone, because it seemed like a nice family. CWD Trixie, what's going on? Says, got the DVDs. Can't go wrong with Blazing Saddles. CWD Trixie. I hope you enjoyed it and hope that it works well for you. Let's see. Donald Hudson, what's going on? Donald Hudson says, Asgardians, assemble. Glad to see you here, Donald. Always glad to see you here. Alice McCarthy at 709 says, more like Alexa Bliss is under the Fiend's spell. She is acting sorta like him randomly. Oh, okay. I saw one clip of that where she did the Sister Abigail, but if she's just doing random moves, I don't find that interesting. Nathan Slade at 709, just like we say, Duck Fisney, truck the foals. Doesn't roll off the tongue nearly as well. James Daché, Odin, do you have a favorite Nicolas Cage film? Do I? I would go with Wicker Man. I love Wicker Man. I think it's hilarious and probably has one of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances. Not the bees! Not my eyes! Oh, it's so good. How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? So good. Love it. Orange Hat Reviews at 709 says, now to get this open forum going, did you hear about Alyssa Milano and her new foolishness? I heard some of it. Alyssa Milano is insane. She's an insane person. She needs serious medical help. Didn't she call the police on a kid? Great work, Alyssa Milano. Calling the police on kids. Oh, man. Nathan Slay at 711 says, I do not see Tom Hardy as a Bond at all. He doesn't have that Bond voice. Just let him stick with Eddie Brock. Well, Nathan Slay, I wouldn't say that. Here's the thing. He's an actor. That's the reason why Tom Hardy's great, is because he can do voices. So he can put on a voice that's going to work for Bond. So, yeah, I don't think the voice is again, if all you remember is his voice as Eddie Brock, that's not his natural voice. That's a character he was playing. And he does that in every movie he does. And so something tells me the voice is not going to be a problem at all for Tom Hardy. The bigger issue would be understanding him, because sometimes he can mumble. But I think that is more to do with direction, script, than it is with him himself. Just another red shirt. What's going on? Harvey Weinstein. How's it going, Harvey Weinstein? 70B says, Tom Hardy could work. Puts the sunglasses on. I know why. I know why you'd want Tom Hardy. Eric K says, Mr. Bean for James Bond. Hell, why not? That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun, to be honest. Kara Tharp, how's it going? Glad to see you here. Father Christopher Miller says, the Saxville Bagginses does not wish a happy birthday to Frodo and Bilbo. Yes. Yes. References for the win. I love it. So good. JJ, how's it going? Super at 714 says, yeah, I've noticed to balance the franchise iterations of Bond, switch between serious secret agent to silly wacky spy guy who can't stop winning at life. Yeah, I mean, normally you do see that type of back and forth with the characters, and I think that's why it works. Here's the other thing, too. Normally there's a break, right? Normally there's a break between Bonds. Was obviously one of the shorter breaks happening between Brosnan and Craig, but even then there was still a break. So it's interesting to me how everyone's talking about how they're going to be making a new Bond with a film I expect with the new Bond to come out, within the next 3 years or so. To me, that's a very short turnaround. And I don't know. I feel like they should take their time with it. Now, obviously, that's not how Hollywood machines work, but I just kind of wish they would. Let it marinate a little bit. Let people desire and want the James Bond again, especially if they're going to destroy Bond in this new film based on the rumors and based on the trailers and everything else. Edgardo Martinez, how's it going? Nathan Slay at 714 says, and the award shows will continue to see their views drop and drop and drop. It's amazing they won't learn their lesson. It really is. It's honestly amazing that people can't see the forest for the trees, that they can't just look at what's going on and say, I wonder why we're losing ratings. Obviously, it can't be because of our politics. I'm just amazed that people think that way. Bruce at 714, how's it going? Bruce says, sorry, I'm late. I was cooking. No excuses. No excuses. None whatsoever. Let's see. Orange Eye Reviews at 715 said, woke is death. Woke is hate, as opposed to non-woke is life. Non-woke is love. It has to be good. Just because it's not woke does not mean automatically that it's good. I think we'll all admit that point. Let's see. Liam Neeson's chin. Well, that's quite an amazing name. Says, do you think this new generation of Hollywood creatives grew up as participation trophy kids, meaning they never had to strive to improve because they knew they would still get rewarded? It's hard to say because it really depends on which creators you're talking about, because many of the creatives working in Hollywood right now tend to be older. They tend to be older and from actually a different generation, right? They tend to be, I guess, in modern terms, they'd be Gen X. So, modern day executives, people that are in power, typically would be either Gen X or baby boomer age, and baby boomer era. And so to me, that was a time in which you didn't really have as much as the Gen, I guess the Gen Y, Gen Z, right? Gen Y being another name and title for millennial. And then, of course, the Gen Z, and now the more current era, which doesn't have an official name yet. And so I think that you haven't seen that. That's why it's kind of amazing that they've kind of fallen into it. Now, younger writers, younger writers are going to fall more so into the millennial and Gen Z track. And so those, they're the ones that mostly grew up with those participation trophies where you just get, trophy, basically if a team, to me, actually, I'm going to be honest. I don't have an issue with participation trophies if they're done correctly. Like, for instance, whenever I used to do karate. And when I would go to a karate tournament, anyone that participated, anyone that did anything where they had to show their form, had to actually spar and do any of those things, because they at least were there and they put forth the effort, we got this tiny little trophy called a spirit trophy. But third place, big trophy. Second place, bigger trophy. First place, huge trophy. So as long as there is like that sense of you didn't win, right, where there are clear, better trophies, I'm actually okay with a participation as long as that's there. My problem is that there are some that think, oh, first place and second place should both get the same trophy, right? Everyone should get the same trophy. I'm not on board with that, right? The first place team, they should get the big bad boy. And if you lose, if you get second place, especially if it's a championship, then guess what? Your trophy should be at least, half the size is my mindset there. So, but yeah, I see where you're coming from, Liam Neeson's chin. And that's saying a lot. Nathan Slade 716 says 2 taxi, 2 driver, and 2 rear, 2 window. Well, now it's just getting crazy. Now it's just getting crazy up in here. Subaru 716 says the Emmys were just nasty and depressing. Watchmen was nominated a total of 26 times and won 11. Chernobyl got 10, and Dark Crystal won Best Kids Program and was canceled the next day. Yeah. What's crazy too? Watchmen got canceled. Watchmen got canceled because no one wanted to watch it. And yet somehow it won 11 Emmys and got nominated 26 times. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Nana Reaper at 717, as a member on the channel, says, this kind of behavior from actors will only stop when the actors are getting eviction notices and their cars are being repossessed. Till this happens, they will continue to push their agenda. Yeah. I was seeing an interesting report the other day, and it was actually an article from 2016. And it said, if you were to take just married men and who they were voting for and take that number into all the states, Trump wins almost every single state in 2016. And so I do think it's interesting, though, how you could say the same thing with actors, right? When you're someone where you have money, you really don't have to work all that much for it anymore, right? Because a lot of actors, when they start off, probably are a little bit more moderate, middle of the road. Some might be conservative, some might be naturally liberal, but there's a little bit more variety there. But then as you get more powerful and as you get bigger and you get more money and things become easier for you, then they start to fall into more of a leftist ideology. And so I just find it interesting that people that are typically a group that tends to work for a living and work their asses off for a living at that tend to be more conservative or tend to be at least more moderate, middle of the road than the alternative. So it actually makes a lot of sense then, Nana Reaper, what you're saying about how many of them are going to continue to have and not change their minds and not learn their lessons if they continue to be comfortable, right? If they continue to be comfortable in their giant mansions with their giant paychecks for doing very little of anything. So, yeah, and the best way to do that, obviously, some would say you could just boycott all of Hollywood altogether, not see any movies or TV, and some people can do that route, and I respect anyone that does that choice. Obviously, for me, movies have always been my escape. Movies have always been a passion of mine, and so I still am very much interested in movies, and there's still stories. There's still good stories being told. There's still great filmmakers that exist today. You all know I love talking about Denis Villeneuve. I think the guy is a great storyteller. And so because of that very reason, I'm going to continue to support the work that he does and all that stuff. I'm still going to call out the nonsense of what actors say online, but I think it's interesting, though, that comfort and elitism tends to lead more so to a leftist ideology. It's kind of fascinating to see that, right? It's not guaranteed, but it is interesting to still see how those things tend to play out. It is fascinating, to say the very least. All right. The chat has jumped on me like it always does. It looks like no comments have been skipped, which is always something that makes me very, very happy. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. All right, cool. Caught up over there. Let me catch up with my D-Live fam. How's it going, D-Live fam? Hope you are all doing very well. Let's see. So Will Gentry says, that must have been a regional rollout then, because I'm sure I've not seen it before. I'm quite about noticing such things. Will Gentry then says, KK3 is good if you are the right age. I was a kid when it came out, so I loved it, especially when Mr. Miyagi went to Cobra Kai Dojo. Yeah, I memean, here's the thing, though. Looking at it as an adult, though, I'm able to look at it from, I think, a more more objective and critical standpoint. And it's not a very well-made movie. Like, just objectively speaking, it's not a very well-made film. So I think that's the reason why. Will Johnny then says, when he says, let's see how good you really are, old man, and Mr. Miyagi kicks his ass, was a wonderful moment for my 12-year-old mind. No, trust me, there are some epic moments in the movie because, again, Pat Morita is fantastic in that role. And I think that might be the most active that Mr. Miyagi's character really gets in any of the films. And so there's great things about it, but then, Daniel LaRusso gets very annoying in the movie. And I really honestly think also that there is so much left to be desired. I think that they could have done so much more with the story overall. Let's see. Will Gentry says his favorite Nicolas Cage film is The Rock. Phonemo says, why didn't Cage win an Oscar for Wicker Man? Him dressing up in a bear costume and punching that woman was perfect acting. Well, that's the reason right there, right? Now, had he been dressed in the bear suit and was punching the man representing the patriarchy, then he would have won an Oscar. But, of course, that didn't happen. Peabody says, Nicolas Cage and Valley Girl, if they attack her, if they attack the car, save the radio. Will Gentry, we had Mr. Bean as James Bond. It was called Johnny English. This is a good point. That is a great point. Let's just see. Will Gentry says, actors thrive on being popular. As soon as it becomes obvious, even to them, that wokeness makes them unpopular, they will tone it down. Yeah, that's the reason why when they become unpopular, they tend to change their opinions and change their views, right? If they tend to have certain positions on various things, and then all of a sudden the woke police come out and call them out, what do they normally do? Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I've been educated now. Will Jenny says, oh, don't get me wrong. Karate Kid 3 is objectively lacking, but subjectively, my young mind loved every second. Boom. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And again, even if it's a bad movie, we can still obviously enjoy it. And I still enjoyed it. I did enjoy Karate Kid 3. It just definitely was weaker than the others by a great deal. Let us see. Nathan Slade at 717 says, I didn't hate Casino Royale. I enjoyed it. Just not my masterpiece to me. Great theme song, though. I love the song for it. Yeah, I mean, the song for that film is fantastic, but the film is also fantastic. The opening scene, the opening chase scene, is some of the best action sequences I've seen in a very long time. Super Anime Gamer tagged at 717 says, I think Grace Randolph summed up Phantom Thread perfectly when she called it a pretentious piece of crap. Yeah, I would say that she was correct, but Grace Randolph also has some pretty bad takes, so I don't know if she's the best source of an opinion on a movie. She also, has come out to defend other films for the sake of, having female characters, even though the film was bad. Nathan Slade, would you recommend watching the Bourne films? Yes. Just the first 3, though. Just the first 3. Nana Reaper at 720 is a member. 10-episode TV season, another bad habit we got from England. Yeah. And especially when you talk about, because that's in reference to South Park. South Park's episodes are so short. They're only 20 minutes long. 10 episodes is not enough. If it was 10 episodes that were 45 minutes long or an hour long, hey, okay, that makes sense. But the fact that they are so short, it's not enough. I need more. Father Christopher Miller says, "Who lives in the east near the willow tree? Sexual harassment, panda. I need more integrity in my life because everyone has to have a little integrity." Absolutely, Father. Great coming from you as well. Apex Snake Boy, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen you in the chat, man. Glad to see you here. Venom Broly 93, what's going on? Nathan Slade 722. Has South Park been targeted by SJWs? I mean, it had been an infamous Wheel of Fortune episode. I mean, it's been attacked by everybody. Literally attacked by everyone. 10 Elf, how's it going, Tim Elf? Angry Mango at 723 says, "I wish an earthquake would just swallow up all of Hollywood while these morally bankrupt fools are attending one of their self-congratulatory award shows." I definitely understand the sentiment, for sure. Let's see, Hybrid X13 says, "What were your favorite Daniel Day-Lewis, not counting There Will Be Blood?" Well, dude, Hybrid, you can't do that, man. Come on. You can't say, "What's your favorite performance?" but I'm going to take out the obvious clear answer. Because that is the answer. There is no other answer. There Will Be Blood is my favorite performance. It is my favorite performance of his. So, no, I'm not going to let you take that away from me, Hypern. Screw you. If you say, which one's better, this or that, I'll tell you that. But Mark Lisseth at 724. "Have you seen Hilary Swank in Away? It is a space drama about a mission to Mars. I didn't watch it because it seemed like a disaster episode type show." Yeah, so I think that's a new thing on Netflix, I believe. So I've not. And every time I've seen the promo for it, though, I've been like, wait, is that Hilary Swank? I guess it is. Father Christopher Miller says, "Quando omni fluncus moriati." You are Mr. Debbie. That's what you meant to say, Soul Assassin, not Mrs. Debbie. You are Mr. Debbie. So great. Christopher Lloyd, by the way, I think Christopher Lloyd's best performance. I love him as Doc Brown, but him as Fester Addams, I mean, it might be tied. Miami Yeti, what's going on? Says, three ninjas kickback, and 3 ninjas knuckle up. Dude, that's my jam. That was my childhood. So much of these things are nostalgic for me. Dude, I love the 3 Ninjas franchise. I love it. Knuckle Up is definitely the weakest. But the first 3 Ninjas is just, fantastic. I also love how they have a character in there that is very much supposed to almost be like the Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi type character as their grandfather, and it's just someone else completely. I love it. In fact, as a kid, I got them confused with each other because I'm like, old, wise Asian man. Wait, these aren't the same people? To my young mind. Hardaway at 725. "I still think they made a huge mistake by not hiring Jude Law to play James Bond. He was born for that role." I mean, I think that, to be honest, whether he's born for it, I think is up for debate. But I think if they were to cast Jude Law instead of someone, and again, they haven't cast it yet, so don't say it's not a huge mistake because they haven't cast anybody yet. So who knows at this point? But if they do indeed decide to go in the direction of Tom Hardy, as I said earlier, it's going to be very much some of the same characterizations. If they went Jude Law, that by itself would make it a very different rendition of the character, which I would be okay with. And I think Jude Law is a great actor. 13th Warrior at 725. "Are you forgetting Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?" No, I'm not. I'm not forgetting that movie. There's only 3. There are only 3. Nathan Slay, 725. "The villain in Karate Kid 3 is the most cliche mustache twirly villain ever, but I love the Karate Kid 3 for that reason. Terry Silva is the life of that movie." No, Terry Silva. See, that's the reason why I didn't like it. I thought Terry Silva, as you said, it is literally the most cliched villain. He's evil for the sake of being villain. There's literally no reason why he is treating Daniel LaRusso or Mr. Miyagi in the way that he is. There's none. There's no legitimate reason in the plot of the film. And it drove me crazy because I'm like, why? Why is he just being a total tool? He's this rich dude that's just bored, is essentially the mindset. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Orange Hat at 725 says, "I like Last Crusade because the best actors in it, Sir Sean Connery, took down a plane with birds." Damn right. Damn right. Pastels Morticia. Oh, yes, 70B, yes. At first I was like, wait, what are you talking about? I thought you were trying to do the spelling. But no, it's like, "That I could forgive you. But Debbie, pastels. Yes. God, Morticia is fire in that. I love that cast. I love that entire movie. Yeah, just another red shirt. I miss Raul Julia too. That dude, way before his time, was just getting going. I mean, that guy could act. Like, the fact that film is meant to be a comedy, I honestly think, no lie and no bias, he should have won an Oscar. He should have been nominated for an Oscar for that performance. He gives a great performance in that movie. Whether you like the movie or not, or the story or not, he gives a great performance. Talk about people that didn't win that should have. Raul Julia, Addams Family Values. I mean, when he's doing this, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. It's so good. My baby's sick and my husband's dying. Well, you're wearing a black dress. Love it. Let's see. Venerable 93 says, like you know, I am an atheist. The Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones too. Nice. I mean, there's also some great just historical references there too. I think everyone can enjoy. Hybrid X13 says, it'd be cool if they made an Indiana Jones movie focusing on finding Genghis Khan's lost grave or something. Yeah, I just don't trust anything they're doing nowadays after Crystal Skull. Nathan Slay says, oh yeah, Temple of Doom doesn't even touch Last Crusade. Last Crusade might be one of Spielberg's best. Super says, The Wicker Man is definitely one of the funniest, but Lord of War as his best. I have not seen all of Lord of War all the way through, but The Wicker Man is definitely my favorite. Orange Eye Reviews says, Tom Hardy is British, so the voice is natural. No, Orange Eye Reviews. I'm talking about the voice that he did for Eddie Brock is not his natural voice. That's what I meant. I meant that he's an actor, and so the voice that he can put on for Bond is not going to be necessarily the voices that we're used to him doing. In fact, if you want to see a movie that I think would have the closest to what the voice we could expect from the character, but even then it could still be different because, again, when he takes on a new role, he takes on an entirely different character. Like, he's just a very talented actor for that reason. But there's a great movie that he did called Locke. Locke. It is about a 90-minute movie. It takes place entirely inside a car, and most of the film is focused just on Tom Hardy's face as he's talking to various people on a cell phone. And you need to be able to do great performances in that kind of a setting. And he has a very normal British accent in the movie. And so I want to say that might be the best representation of what he would actually sound like in a James Bond film. But even that, right, would still not necessarily be completely true because he's an actor and he could put on a deeper British accent, or he could put on a deeper voice with it as well. Eric K says, have you ever seen Tom Hardy and Bronson? Great performance. I have seen it. I hated the movie. The movie was so all over the place. It drove me crazy, but Tom Hardy was great in it. There's no denial of that. Nana Reaper at 728 says, Tom Hardy can do an English accent. Just watch the series Taboo. I never said he couldn't. Why are people thinking that I said that he couldn't do an English accent? I never at any point said that. Nathan Slay says, in terms of Nick Cage movies, I do want to watch Con Air and Face Off. Oh my gosh, Con Air. So bad it's good. Cyrus the Virus. God, such a... Put the bunny down. So good. And Face Off is great too. Woo-wee, I'm good looking. Hardway 730, I always thought that Lincoln was Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie. That would have been a great one to go out. Dude, if Lincoln was the last movie he did, that would have been great. Because as boring as the movie can be, like as bland as the film can be, his performance is spectacular. So I would agree. Unfortunately, it was Phantom Thread. Soul Assassin says at 730, forget the awards. They're lame and boring. We got the Ravens. Yes, indeed. Though I don't know if we're going to have the Ravens this year. Because one of the main purposes of the Ravens is to boycott the Oscars. But at this point, I don't know how the Oscars can happen because no movies are coming out. I don't get it. Be hilarious if they did cancel, especially with all the new crap they're trying to add in. It's become a giant joke. It's been a joke for a long time, but all right. See, Gigamus Prime, what's going on? It says I'm late for class. Get a note. James Alshier at 731 says, what are your thoughts for the Passion of the Christ since it's very controversial? I love it. As a Catholic, I think it's very powerful. It's a film that I love to show to my students during Easter, especially because we always hear about and see a crucifix and talk about the passion and talk about the crucifixion and the scourging at the pillar. But to actually see what that likely would have looked like, I think brings it to a much realer place. And so the effect that can have, especially on younger students who have never really put two and two together, is always great to see. And even I, as someone that's seen it several times in my life, still get moved by it every single time. There's always something new that I notice. Let's see. Nathan Slay at 731. Jaws 5 should be about a shark played by Liam Neeson. His daughter can be taken by fishermen, and he could call the fishermen on the phone and promise that he will eat them. Gosh, that's terrible. Bruce is 732. Current era is Generation Snowflake. Not all of them, Bruce. There's actually, it's interesting because this current era they've done research on might be the most conservative era politically in a long time. So I would actually say, yeah, there are snowflakes, but there's also a lot more common sense coming out of it as well. Gigamus at 732. Since this is open forum, what is the meaning of life? 42. Easy. 13th Warrior. Boom. He beat me to it. I'm obviously just getting to this in the chat, but 42 is indeed the answer. And if you don't get that, too bad. Gigamus Prime. Do an impression of Tommy Wiseau as the Mighty Morphin Green Ranger. My name's Tommy. Nathan Slay. Did you know that a Suicide Squad got an Oscar win before any MCU film did? Yeah, I mean, I didn't know the timeline on it, but yeah. It's always funny to see really bad movies that get nominations and in some cases even get Oscar wins over other films that have been much better and yet never won. Let's see. Super at 734. Emmys are now officially determined by how hard you virtually signal. Pretty much. Brian Barth at 734. What do you think of Zack Snyder and his DCEU? Brian Barth, I don't know if I think you're newer to the channel, so maybe you haven't heard my rants about Zack Snyder. I cannot think, here's kind of like a summary point. I cannot think of a single Zack Snyder film in his entire history of filmography that at this point in time I would ever want to watch again. I don't think his movies stand the test of time. I don't think his movies hold up over multiple viewings. I don't think he's a good filmmaker. You can like that. You can disagree with me. I don't like him as a filmmaker. And that is, I always want to add on to that. I have not seen his version of Dawn of the Dead. So I have not seen that movie. And so all the other films, though, that I have seen, nope. No, thank you. And his DCEU, I think, is bad. Man of Steel was decent. Man of Steel had a lot of potential. It was a B movie, on a grading scale for me. It was a B-level film, so it had potential. It could have been better, but it just also has a lot of problems and a lot of issues with it. And don't get me started on Batman v Superman, which is complete and utter trash. I don't care if you add 30 minutes or not to it. It's still trash. And then I'm open to watching the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I'm sorry, though. I don't think anything he does is going to fix it. Now, could it be better than the Joss Whedon version? Sure. Doesn't mean that either is going to be a good movie. Oh, man. Hybrid X13 at 734 says, I heard Peninsula wasn't good, Train to Busan. That's disappointing. Was hoping it would be a good zombie sequel. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. But basically, I think the reason why the complaints are there is Train to Busan is a great movie. It's not just a great zombie movie. It's a great movie. And I think Peninsula is just a fun zombie movie. So it's not a good movie on its own. It follows, based on what I've read, it follows more of the typical zombie tropes rather than trying to tell a good, compelling story that happens to exist during a zombie apocalypse breakout. Which does make me sad too, because I was also looking forward to it. And sadly, it has not come out to play near me. I know that it's available now to pre-order on Blu-ray and such. I think there might even be a 4K release of it coming out. And I'm considering it. Especially since I don't know if it's going to come out here or not, but yeah, I want to see it. Harvey says, BLM co-founder Patrice Cullors and BLM's Los Angeles chapter co-founder Melina Abdullah have admitted that necromancy is a vital part of their BLM activism and the movement as a whole. There's a lot of things that we're finding out more and more about people in the higher ups of BLM, like the official organization. I mean, we already knew it was bad. You could have just gone to their website and seen what they stand for, which, by the way, apparently has been deleted, where they talk about how they are actively fighting against the nuclear family. I'm sorry, but that is downright diabolical. So, yeah, I don't need to know any more than that to know that it's a crap organization filled with tons of corruption. And anyone that gives them money or supports them needs to take a nice long look in the mirror and think, what am I doing with my life? Oh, man. Alrighty. So, chat has jumped on me like it tends to do. So, let's see. No comments have been skipped. We do have 102 people watching. Smash that like button. We broke 100 once again. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Let me jump back over into D-Live and catch up with my peeps there. Let's see. Captain Dean High says, to be honest, Daniel's son was a real D-bag in Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi turned him around. Cobra Kai, he kind of went back to being a D-bag. Sorry about the line break. It's all good, man. I figured that out. I think when you look to the development of his character in Cobra Kai, I think it's very consistent, though. I think that you see that he is changed. Whether you think it's a D-bag or not, I think is up to, subjective view. But I do think that it's because of the work of Miyagi that he's able to, become the person that he is. He's still not perfect. He's still learning. And I think that's what's great about the show is that no one character in the show is perfect. They're all flawed in different ways. And I think it's fantastic. Vonima says, what about Clive Owen as Bond? I think Clive Owen would have been a great Bond 10 to 20 years ago. But overall, I love him as an actor. So, Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the diamond donation. Good sir, I appreciate it. Captain Mr. Roy, also thank you for the 5 ice cream donations as well. And also Captain Dean Heiss, thank you for the 5 ice cream donation. I appreciate it. And then Phonema says, even the Dawn of the Dead remake. Ignore that question that says Phonemo. Do you mean by that the Dawn of the Dead remake is also not very good? Because again, I've not seen it. Or did you mean that you were asking if I even included that one? But again, I've not seen it, so I cannot speak to that one. All right, back over to my YouTube peeps. We're picking up with Soul Assassin at 7:35. It is in real life 7:57, so yeah, over 20 minutes behind, as I tend to be. Soul Assassin 75 though says, "Know what annoys me is those multi-millionaire celebs asking me to donate to a cause. They're rich. They can spot me on this charity." Yes, Soul Assassin. Agree. When someone has multiple homes, nice cars, etc., and then they're asking you to donate to a charity or donate to not even a charity, but donate to an organization like BLM, for instance. Yeah, screw you. If you want to bankroll them, guess what? You can do it all on your own. If you want to support that garbage group, you go right ahead. Don't try and push me to. Let's see. Gigamus Prime at 735. I remember a very old interview with Chris Evans where he said using social media messes up people's minds, and now he's completely ruled by social media. He really turned. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? He was at a point where he recognized the problem, and yet he got consumed by it. And because he was right. Social media can absolutely mess people up. Gigamus Prime, what are the chances of Hollywood burning? Will some elites back into normal common sense people? Again, if someone was forced to get a real job and to work for a living and understand what it means to have to work paycheck to paycheck or to have to work and live within your means, I think that, yeah, I think when they realize how little money they're getting from a normal job and how much money is taken out in their taxes, yeah, I think that they'll start to turn around. HyperX13. Let's hope Denis is consistent with Dune. Prisoners was my favorite of his bunch. Yes, Hypern. Again, to me, he has not made a bad movie. He's made movies that not everyone loves. Like, again, the one for me, Enemy, is the one that I can think of where I had some issues with it. But even then, I can still admit that it's a great film, like as far as like the way it's made and objectively. Let's see. Eslin Burkholder, how is it going? Glad to see you here. Hyper13 says, Cobra Kai is much better than Karate Kid, right? Cobra Kai is, like, legit good. It's hard for me to say because, the first Karate Kid is definitely, even then, a product of its time. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's very good. So, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily better or worse. I do thoroughly enjoy it, though. Maybe objectively. I would have to break it down. Orange Eye Reviews at 738 says, on Karate Kid 3, Minty's Comics does a great 10 things you didn't know about Karate Kid 3. Ralph Macchio, I do not think wanted to come back. However, it did give a good bit of plot to Cobra Kai Season 2. Yeah, now I actually want to go back. So my plan was to rewatch all the Karate Kids and then rewatch all of Cobra Kai, because I saw Cobra Kai when it first got released on YouTube Red. So that's why it's great that people are finally getting to watch it again. And sadly, though, I was watching it, and then all of a sudden, I think they were all on Netflix. So Cobra Kai was there, all the Karate Kids were there, and then all of a sudden, all the Karate Kids got taken off. And so I had to try and track it down, and sure enough, I was able to find that they were on Showtime. And so I was able to get a month free trial of Showtime's streaming service, and was able to finally watch the third one, which is, again, the first time I ever seen first time I'd ever seen Karate Kid 3 in my life. And then I was able to watch the next Karate Kid after that. And so now my plan is at some point to catch up with all of Cobra Kai. Miami 8738 says, Nicolas Cage's best film is Raising Arizona. That's what I hear. I've not seen that film, to be honest. Eric K 738 says, correction, not Daniel LaRusso gets very annoying. Ralph Macchio is always annoying. But he plays Daniel LaRusso. I like him in My Cousin Vinny. I think he's less annoying in My Cousin Vinny. That's My Cousin Vinny. Use Prince 79, and you should dress up as Nick Cage in a bear suit from The Wicker Man for Halloween and go around driving red pills and woke feminists. Let's see. Thirsty Warrior says, so nice to hear you wax on poetically about Karate Kid. I'm glad that you like that. Kiko Rogers' favorite Nicolas Cage character. I would say the same person he plays in The Wicker Man. I'm not very deep on this. Brian Barth at 740. What are some unmade film projects you've heard of? I'm about to say, technically speaking, the sequel to Passion of the Christ is unmade. They're trying to make it. It's been in the process of being made for a very long time. Can't think of it on the top of my head. It's Rap Productions at 740 says, greetings, my lord. I hope you and Lady Freya are doing well. I hope you're doing well, good sir. Harry 13 at 740 says, we need Jason Bourne, James Bond, John Wick, Ethan Hunt crossover. There will be a lot of running and killing in that type of flick. It's true. It's funny because it's true. Hunger, Junga, Funga, Monker, how's it going? Apex Snape Boy says, been working nights and wanted a beer. Well, glad to see you here. Sexual Harassment Panda is in the chat, says, did someone call my name? Yes, Sexual Harassment Panda. Nathan Slay, one of the best things about Casino Royale is the Bond girl. The romance between Bond and Ava is one of the most convincing romances ever. Movie romances ever? Convincing movie romances? No. Again, it's good. I mean, the actors are great, but I wouldn't say it's the most convincing ever. Brian Barth says, what is your favorite TV show? Mine is Law & Order, 1990 to 2010. Favorite TV show of all time? I always put shows like Firefly up in the mix. I love Buffy. Buffy was a great show. Dollhouse, which actually was another, I'm naming all Joss Whedon shows, because no matter what you think about him as a person, he made some pretty good TV shows. And I actually really am a fan of Dollhouse. It's probably one of the more lesser known of his shows that didn't get nearly as much attention. Edgardo Martinez says, agreed on Christopher Lloyd. Seriously, it's so good. Howard X13 says, Daniel Plainview, I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Yes. Hunga Chunga Funga Munga says, is Gordon dead? Is Gordon dead? Gordon, are you there? Edgardo Martinez says, is Christopher Lloyd our favorite Chris? It might be. He's a pretty damn good Chris. Rob D says, a legitimately bad movie that I enjoy is Starship Troopers 2. The first time you watch it, you have to watch it knowing it's a low-budget film, though. I have not seen either of Starship Troopers. Give us Prime. Who would win a fight, Mr. Miyagi or Yoda? Yoda has the Force. Soul Assassin, Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. Yes! And then they have like those like old school phones connecting their houses, and it's so good. Tum Tum and Colt. God, I will say it's that movie that made me want to get into martial arts, though, because I wanted a mask. I wanted to be able to kick people's butt. It's great. Dark Shadow Logan 7044 just logged in, but wanted to mention Odin, the original movie with Charles Bronson called The Mechanic is drying up everywhere and is getting expensive. Ooh, okay. I'll have to take a look into that. A lot of times films that people recommend to me as far as being a part of the preservation project, usually for some reason just don't fall into what I'm looking for because they're readily available, they're not too expensive, and I don't know what the issue is. 8-Bit Snake Boy 745. Are you worried about the upcoming Dune going woke? I noticed that the Jihad is now a crusade. The change makes me suspicious. Well, when you think about it, you can name something to the crusade and connect things to Christianity and even make fun of Christians. And like South Park showed, even show Jesus and people crapping on him and all this other nonsense. And guess what? Christians are not going to really bat an eye. Right? Some might get upset by it. Some might get offended by it, but that's the worst that's going to happen. Where other people of other faith denominations, which take things very seriously to a extreme degree sometimes, at least more commonly in our modern day culture, is going to cause some more issues. So my guess is that it's being done for that reason, more so than anything else. But obviously I can't confirm that. That's just my own speculation. Let's see. Hardwick says, ever since James Bond movies went serious, the Mission Impossible franchise has stepped in to deliver what the Bond franchise used to be back when it was about fun escapism. Mission Impossible isn't killing it. I mean, seriously, they've been great. Eric K746, you're talking underrated actors, Greg Kinnear. Ooh, yeah, Greg Kinnear. Yes. I'm pretty sure I know exactly who you're talking about. Yep, Greg Kinnear. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Great actor. For anyone that's wondering who this guy is, I'm trying to think about some of the films that I've seen him in where you might recognize him. So, As Good as It Gets, he played Simon Bishop. I believe that was the gay character in the movie. Let's see. What else? As far as films that I've seen, I'm sure people are going to be like, you didn't say this movie. Little Miss Sunshine. He plays the patriarch of the family. He plays Richard Hoover. So he plays the dad in the family. He was freaking great in that movie. Let's see. He was in Invincible. He was pretty good in that. Let's see. Oh, Lord. He was in Movie 43. Good Lord. Anchorman 2. Sadly, it looks like he's been going downhill a little bit, sadly. But no, he is a very talented actor, though. I will give you that much. Father Christopher Miller says, Luxor, Nexor, burst and burn. Just a curse. Have a nice day. Yes. I'm loving all of these Addams Family quotes. I love it. They'd say, one of the other reasons why Karate Kid 3 is hilarious is that Terry Silva talks at the top of his lungs for no reason. Hey, I like that, Johnny. I'm going to use that. Yeah, it's so bad. It really is bad. Joe Bag of No Nuts. Did you see Raul Julia and Romero? If so, what do you think of it? So I own Romero, and I've been meaning to watch it for a long time because I hear he's amazing in it. That's a film I need to watch. I need to see that one, and I also need to see him, of course, in Street Fighter because, I mean, come on. I've only seen the clips from it. Of course. Oh, so good. Final film comment. Glad to see you here. HyperX 13. Tom Hardy is too swole for Bond. Also, nobody cared who he was until he put on the suit. Yeah, but you know what? But that's a different iteration of Bond, though. I think that is something that could be welcome. Like, again, Tom Hardy, I think, would be a little too similar because it'd be more of a serious take, assuming the kind of Bond that he would be. But you're right. At least the body type would be a little bit different. Alice McCarthy at 747. John Kreese saved Terry's life a lot in Nam, so he feels he owes him. Context Karate Kid 3. Yeah, but come on. That's not a very good reason to do the things that he does, including tricking a child. Or I guess technically he would be an adult, but still, tricking a teenager. Giga's Prime and Ghost Rider. Does Nicolas Cage do the voice of Ghost Rider when the character is in Ghost Rider form, or is it someone else? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't really care much for that film. Other than just seeing his performance. Alex McCarthy says, Tom Hardy is good at Sean Connery voice. Nano Reaper at 748 says, Dirk Pitt is better than Indiana Jones if only Clive Cussler's books transferred well into the movies. I don't know what that is. Brian Barth, what do you think of Jake Gyllenhaal? Gyllenhaal is fantastic. And I know someone in the chat saying, that's not how you pronounce his name. Well, that's how I pronounce his name. And he's fantastic. Nightcrawler, probably one of his best performances of his career, and one that everyone should see. As far as I would say a more obscure film from him, Source Code, fantastic. I got to see a premiere of Source Code, and he was actually there to introduce the film. It was really cool. Orange Knight Reviews at 748 says, something many forget is that Morticia Addams is also in John Wick 3. Damn right, Angelica Houston is a great actress. Yes, she is. And I cannot tell you how happy I was to see her in John Wick. So happy to see her there. Steady says, yes, that movie with Tom Hardy is so good. Talking about Locke. Yes, recommend it highly. Gigamus Prime, Tom Hardy was in Star Trek Nemesis. He looks so different in the movie from all his other roles. I've heard of that. I've never seen it, though. Eshavir Singh says, have you talked about the Emmys yet? Jimmy Kimmel looked like he wanted to crap his pants. Yeah, so we did mention a little bit, and I skipped most of it. I've seen a couple of clips, including that one, and it just goes ahead and shows me that there's no reason. It's a complete waste of time to watch that nonsense. Hybrid Entertain, I've heard Nicolas Cage is going to play Joe Exotic. These wild news keep coming. Yeah, I think I've heard that too. And to be honest, I want that. I want that to happen. I want Nicolas Cage as Joe Exotic. Edgardo Martinez 749. No, now why? Let's see. Now why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? Nathan Slay. It's like looking into a mirror, only not. It's like looking into a mirror, only not. Thenotas Felicitas 750 overdrawn at the memory bank. 1983, underappreciated Raul Julia TV movie. Mind of a programmer forced to do virtual vacation when things go wrong. Interesting. Rob D, are there any movies you enjoyed but don't feel the need to buy? Lincoln is one of those films for me. I enjoyed it, but not enough to watch it multiple times. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a film that I'm pretty sure I don't own. Sometimes there's movies that are on sale, and my mind just goes, "Ooh, that's cheap. I'm gonna get it." Oh, Lincoln's only $3 on Blu-ray. I gotta get that. I've definitely slowed down from doing that, but a huge bulk of my collection was basically like impulse buys of, oh, this is on sale. Oh, that's a good deal. So yeah, I don't think I own that film, but that would be a good example of a movie that I wouldn't want to buy. Venom Berlin 93. When you get that COVID has been created to help us defeat Hollywood and their SJW movies by forcing people to avoid cinemas. Man, if that was someone's master plan, screw that person. As happy as I am to see Hollywood, losing money, not worth what I'm having to go through on a daily basis, having to teach in a mask. Eric K, let's see, says, so many faces I recognize here. Damn right, Eric K. There's a great community here in Asgard. Gigamus, it's just me, but I find that Ghost Rider is one of Nicolas Cage's movies where he seems the most normal, and yet his head goes up in flames. Let's see. Bruce says, context, common sense. Really? I sure hope so. Even with your context, it didn't make sense, Bruce. I need more. Nathan Slade, does the original Karate Kid stand the test of time? I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Thirsty the Warrior says, I never got the anti-Semitism in The Passion of the Christ. It was pretty true to the Gospels, even the dialogue. No, it was. And I think that people honestly were trying to find something to complain about. And obviously it wasn't helped with the recordings of a very high drunk Mel Gibson making anti-Semitic comments that probably made people read into the movie. When if you look at the movie and understand it correctly, that's not the intention, right? As you said, it's very true to the Gospels. There really is no anti-Semitism at all in that film. I think people are trying to take comments that were made by Mel Gibson and try and apply it to the movie, which I don't think you can really do in all good conscience. Let's see. 70B says, I like Zack Snyder. You know why? Cheap. I do know why. And it's a little film called 300. It's a big one. Let's see. Chat has jumped on me like it tends to do. Let me catch up with my D-Live fam. Phonema says, I've been meaning to rewatch Dollhouse. Think $24 for both seasons on Blu-ray is worth it. I think you could eventually see that price drop. However, seeing that Joss Whedon's in a lot of trouble and there's a lot of accusations being made against him, it might be good to buy it. Because the rule of thumb would be it could drop if he gets into trouble, or it could go up because they're not printing it anymore and they're not trying to make more of his content. So I know that I've been watching the price of it, and for me, $24 did seem a little high because I've been able to get entire series for like $10 to $15. And so for 2 seasons of a show, that's a little bit too much for me. However, I think it's a great show. I really do. I think it's a fantastic show. So it might be. Will Gentry says, the only Addams Family quote I can think of is, be afraid. Be very afraid, yes. By the way, fun fact, if you've never noticed before, in Addams Family Values, when they get to Camp Chippewa, and they are showing a close-up of Wednesday Addams, and they're going between him and Joe Blicker. By the way, Joe Blicker, God, I love that character so much. But anyway, in the background, behind Wednesday, you can see Pugsley trying to hang himself. It's one of those things where my family and I watched it all the time when I was a kid. And then we were watching it, and all of a sudden, you know how you watch the movie so many times, but there's things that you always find new for the first time. I had seen that, finally. So we had seen it probably countless times, and finally I'm like, wait, did y'all see that? And I was laughing my ass off, and so I was like, pause it, rewind it, and said, look in the background. And so now, every time I see that, it's just like, God, it's such a dark film, but it's also just so well done. PY says, did you get the movies that I sent you? Yes. Yes, I did. I did get them. I don't know. I don't know where I put them. I know I had them. So I think so this is what happened. I think, maybe. Let me see. No. Where is it? Rachel! No. Okay, I have one of them. So what happened was I picked up movies, and MVD Visual, who you all know I work with on occasion. There's a backlog of just tons of movies I need to go through and talk about. But yes, thank you very much, Sue. He sent me Fly Away Home, starring Jeff Daniels. So the reason why I didn't know where it was because I had brought all of these movies in, and I had not gone through them yet because I was planning to do so, and it had gotten so busy. And so I forgot what was the second film. It was just one. Okay. Just the one movie. Perfect. Yeah, so I did get Fly Away Home. So thank you very much, Peabody, for sending that to me. I'm going to put that and leave that here because then I can digitize that and watch it. But yeah, that's right. Anna Paquin. I think I remember hearing you talk about this. So a very young Anna Paquin in the movie. 96 Academy Award nominated for cinematography. And in today's modern world, this probably would not have gotten nominated because it lacks diversity. But anyway, yeah, the little girl right there, that's an Anna Paquin, young Anna Paquin. So very cool. So thank you, Peabody. Yes, indeed, I got it. All right. Jump back over to YouTube. We do need to start to wrap things, or get close to wrapping things up. Got about 10 minutes or so. So I might have to skip a couple of comments here and there. Let's see. Miami Yeti says, I think Superman fight with the League in Justice League was his best fight ever. Again, I honestly just don't remember anything worth noting from his movies. Hybrid 13 says, oh, I see. Context on Train to Busan sounds like the Evil Dead series. One has a different tone and the feel from the other. I can see why some would feel disappointed that way. I think I think that's what happened is people went in expecting to see Train to Busan, and when it wasn't that great movie, it let people down, right? So I could see it being a disappointment if you go in with high expectations for it to match the first film, which, to be honest, might be me because I don't typically like zombie films, and that film, the first one, Train to Busan, was so damn good because it was just a good movie. Let's see. Tippy Tail McKitty, what's going on? Hologram Nunchuck is 76. Hail pizza time. Hail to you. Glad to see you here. Gibbs Prime says, would you ever direct a fan film of some kind? No, I would not. Miami Eddie says, the show I Met Your Mother had a good episode with Johnny and Daniel's son. That's right. I forgot that they were able to get them in there. And that was before they had done the Cobra Kai series. 13th Warrior 77. What is it with you and Nancy Pelosi about ice cream? Oh, screw Nancy Pelosi. Super says, since it's open forum, I want to ask, any advice for Phantom Menacers wanting to start a channel, but who already have careers or are looking to be in left-wing industries? Thanks, fam. As far as the channel goes, basically, you just start. I mean, that's really the only way to get going is just to start recording. I would say if you plan to do it for fun, that's probably going to be your best bet if you're busy. Because, I have a full-time job, I have a family, and all these other things. And so I do this for fun. And so I only do what I'm able to do. I only do things that I can work within my schedule to still also be able to spend enough time with my family and obviously also still have time for my real job. And so as long as you're going and approaching it through that angle and through that lens, I think that you'll be fine. And I think that you'll have a lot of fun with it. And as far as entering into left-wing industries, again, that's going to be up to you. You have to ask yourself, is this something that you really honestly love? I'm assuming you're talking about the film industry. So if you love film and you want to work in the film industry, I think that depending on where you're going to go, where you're going to work, is going to determine your experience. Because something tells me that the tech crews, so like lighting and sound crews, probably have a lot more diversity of opinion, if I had to take a guess. Because they're more of the working class of Hollywood. But if you're trying to get into writing teams or directing teams or producing teams, more of the high-end stuff, again, that's a question that only you can answer. Hope that helps. Just another red shirt says, do you think Jet Li or Jet Ali? I think it meant Jet Li. Jet Li had been watching some of Jackie Chan's stuff before he starred in Kiss of the Dragon. The fight scene in the hotel laundry looked like Chan choreographed it. I have actually not seen Kiss of the Dragon. I'm going to be honest. Shame me. Final film comment says, just started watching Cobra Kai. Loving it so far. Worth to watch the whole? Yes, absolutely. The end of season 2 is like, so good. Orange Chat at 759 says, Odin, I will say this about Cobra Kai. Objectively done well and subjectively enjoyable. But the premise of Johnny being bitter after all these years makes no sense. William Zabka even agreed on that. I mean, to some extent, because I'm going to be honest, there are people in this world that can hold on to things that happened years ago. So it actually, to me, it still makes sense. It can still work. Right? Is it outlandish? Is it harder to believe? Sure. And I'm sure that's why Zabka would even agree with it. But it's still something that it can make sense because there are people like that exist in the world. Hardwick says, I meant that they made a mistake when they hired Daniel Craig to play Bond instead of Jude Law. I doubt there's any chance of Law getting the part now as of his age. Here's the thing, though. Jude Law still looks pretty young. So, he might age on paper. That might be the case, but I think personally he could probably still pull it off. Guillaume's Prime says, how come so many of the actors on Power Rangers don't make it in Hollywood? Because most of them are not good actors. I'm just going to be honest. I know that you're a big fan of Power Rangers, but most of the Power Rangers shows are just not very good, man. And a lot of the acting on it is not very good. Sorry. Orange Eye Reviews, context, William Zabka is Johnny, in case you didn't know. Yes. Alice McCarthy at 8 o'clock says, Daniel LaRusso is and always was the bully. Johnny Lawrence is innocent just through the edges. All right, John Flickinger. Oh, Lordy. All right, Flick Pick. HyperX13 says, I love you, John. Usually I hear Arrival as his most controversial context in Villeneuve, but I will say at least that movie condemns pro-life on the mother wanting her daughter to live. So the film itself is mostly controversial because many people think the twist doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it does if you're actually paying attention to the story of what's going on. Enemy, though, is to me the most controversial simply because it's a very art house type movie. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of those in general. Miami at 801 says, have you seen the Thomas Crown Affair? I want to say I've seen the remake. Is Pierce Brosnan in the remake? If so, I may have seen it. Lord Toad says, I'm glad to hear Sir Henry of Cavill is going to be Superman for a whole bunch of movies. I hear that's the rumor. Again, the only place I've seen that reported are on rumor sites and nothing official. Again, I have not checked that in a long time. Crazy Cat Guy, by the way, thank you for the $5 super chat. I saw that 4 minutes ago. Says, I second Overdrawn to the Memory Bank. Low budget and campy, but I recall enjoying it back in the day. It was also featured in Season 8 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. But here's the thing. Isn't everything in Mystery Science Theater 3000 normally seen as bad? So would that be something that I should necessarily watch? I'll have it pulled up here. American Playhouse Overdrawn to the Memory Bank has 2.3 stars out of 10. The fact that you said Mystery Science 3000, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it's got low. Are y'all pulling my leg? I mean, I love Raul Julia, but that doesn't really sound like, I don't know. I'm very confused. I'm very confused. But anyway, I was gonna look up to see about Henry Cavill, because last I checked, anything I saw talking about it did not seem like it was coming from anything legitimate. Yeah, like Geek Tyrant, not really a reliable source. We Got This Covered, and whenever We Got This Covered is one of the top things talking about him and talking about any story, it can't be verified. Rumor mill, yeah. So it's a rumor. So yeah. So I have no thoughts on it because it has not been confirmed. So I'm very tired of people running with stories as if they're true when they are not true. That is something that does grind my gears a bit, right? If you're going to say something is rumor, hey, that's fine. Absolutely run with that, as long as you make it clear that it's rumor. But yeah, Lord Toth, that is not true. It's not been confirmed yet. I hope it is true. I hope it does happen, because I think Henry Cavill is awesome. Hungry Junkie Funky Monkey, no, you are incorrect, sir. Firefly is not overrated. It is a fantastic show. If you meant that it's not as good as people say it is, okay. That's what, again, kind of the definition of overrated, but it is a good show. Gordon's alive. James Dossier says, did you have a favorite TV sitcom? Mine are Married with Children and Frasier. Ooh, it's old, but it's classic. All in the Family. Great sitcom. Final film comment. Dollhouse was great. I'm trying to get through Buffy on season 2, but still not enjoying it. Any advice? If after season 2 you still don't like it, I would say it probably isn't for you, because the tone pretty much stays very consistent throughout the entire series. Let's just see. Skipping some comments, especially random comments. Miami Eddie says, stuck on you, flash of genius. Nano Reaper says, I want a realistic Bond film with Bond getting a subcompact rental car and has a cover as an accountant and spends hours digging through the trash of inappropriately shredded documents. Yeah, everyone wants that, Nano Reaper. That would be subversion of expectations to the nth degree. 70B, I still see you. I hope the stream didn't go down. I hope that is not the case. Looks like it may have dropped for a second. Blake St. Clair at 809 says, no love for Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain, Hulkamania Running Wild. Hell no, Blake St. Clair. Hell no. I pretend that film doesn't exist. 13th Warrior 809 says, the camp musical in Addams Family Values was hilarious. Yes! Eat me! Hey, it's Thanksgiving Day. Eat me! So good. Oh, it's such a great show. I love it. Gigamus, man, can you please check in the randomness a little bit? Right? It's one thing if it's every now and then, but when you have 10 comments in a 2-minute period, all saying completely random things and trying to be funny, it gets to me, man. 810 Bruce says, I'm watching Fight Club after this stream. Boom. Don't talk about Fight Club. Next late 810 says, Gyllenhaal's performance in Far From Home was good, but I hate how they wrote Mysterio in the movie. Yeah, I mean, Gyllenhaal's great. Gyllenhaal is great in pretty much everything he does. The film, yeah, you're right. The film was just not that well written. Hybrid X16 says, I don't know which name is most fun to make fun of, Villeneuve or Gyllenhaal. Hardwick says, Dirk Pitt is an adventurer from books by Clive Cussler. So far, there have been 2 movies about him, Raise the Titanic and Sahara. Matthew McConaughey played him in the latter. Yeah, I've only ever heard of Sahara, and it didn't really get a whole lot of attention. Nathan Slay, I don't know what it is about me, but I'm addicted to action films. Miami Eddie says, The Rookie, 1990, Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen, Raul Julia, Bad Guy, Lara Flynn Boyle, Tom Skerritt. Interesting. I've never seen that. Peter Hand says, you should watch Rise the Titanic. Never heard of it before. Ooh, I see loves in the chat. I see hots in the chat. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate it very much so. All right, we're going to start to wrap things up. Let me go back and check out D-Live fam real quick. All right, still caught up with D-Live fam. Love my D-Live fam. Slicer Neons 812 says, California couple, Oscar and Emmy, Golden Globe, were found dead at their Hollywood home this weekend. Autopsy confirms cause of death, apathy. Oh, at first I was like, I thought that was a real story. Then I was like, oh, Oscar and Emmy, Golden Globe. Now I get it. Brian Barr says, do you think this is all part of Spielberg's master plan of destroying Hollywood as we once hated Hollywood, then became one of it? That'd be interesting. But the fact that he's the one that's still trying to release a remake of, oh my gosh, why am I blanking out on it? But a complete unnecessary remake. You know what I'm talking about. You know The Thing. I don't feel like Joe Biden. You know The Thing. Bruce says, sorry, the context X broke for a moment. This generation having common sense. Bruce continues to live up to the legacy of being terrible at context. He makes things even more confusing. Oh, man. 70B says, I'll play victim all your life. Yes. Great Wednesday Addams quote. Hybrid 13 says, send those movies that you received on a trip to Belize, Mr. Heisenberg. By the way, Steph, if you are a big fan of Wednesday Addams, they did a Broadway musical of the Addams Family, and there's some pretty great Wednesday Addams stuff in there. She has some pretty great songs, too. Eunice Prime says, have you ever seen the YouTube channel Bat in the Sun where they do fan versus videos like Batman versus Darth Vader? Nope. No, I've not. No, I have not. Hardwick, have you heard of the movie studio Indivisible Productions that Chris Pratt started? He describes it as creating content which aims to sow the growing divide in the country. I remember hearing a report about him starting his production company, but I've actually not heard of it. Nathan Slay, the chemistry between Mr. Miyagi and Daniel is just as delightful as the chemistry between Doc Brown and Marty McFly. I think that's a fair comparison. Hardwick says, Pratt, talking about his studio, I'll focus on offering people reprieve from the crushing weight of the falling sky. See movie, stow phone, laugh beside somebody you've been told you hate. It's a great mindset. Hope more people in Hollywood can embrace that philosophy. Orange Hat, to just another red shirt, Jackie Chan and Jet Li are best friends, and they actually had been trying to work together for a long time before they landed in the Forbidden Kingdom movie, which is just stupid fun. Forbidden Kingdom, very stupid fun. Miami Eddie says, yes, Pierce Brosnan is in Thomas Crown Affair remake. Yeah, I've seen the remake. I've not seen the original. Let's see. Eric K says, Raul Julia and Moon over Parador. Never heard of it, never seen it. Hyper 13 at 826. Context for Enemy. I think Denis Villeneuve oversaw the future. What if it was a secret prequel to Spider-Man Far From Home, since it has spider symbolism and Mysterio in it? Oh, that's a good point. Slice says, send some love at Tina's way, fellas. Kentucky is under state of emergency. Oh, no. Oh, no. I thought I remember hearing about something like that. Oh, Lord. The fact that a state, this pisses me off, this is open forum, the fact that a freaking state, or at the very least, I didn't know the state did, I think it's just Louisville. Yeah, so it's just Louisville. It's not the entire state, based on this article from The Guardian. However, the fact that a city, let alone a state, would have to declare a state of emergency for a freaking court opinion, for a case, for a legal court case, is ridiculous. That pisses me off. Grand jury decision imminent on fatal shooting by police of 26-year-old inside her apartment in March. Why? The fact that we have to put a state of emergency out is ridiculous. And oh my gosh, this reminds me, there was a video that Tina actually sent me, and it was idiots protesting, blocking the street, blocking a bridge. And the whole time they were just like, say her name, say her name. And I'm like, you're just annoying people at this point. It's ridiculous. Screw that. Peter Han says, Dollhouse greater than Buffy. No, I think I enjoy Buffy more. But Dollhouse is still pretty solid. Dollhouse is still pretty damn solid. All right. We are wrapping things up indeed. Let's see. U.S. Dutch Kitty says, just you wait, little Thor. In a few years, we'll be wanting to be a Power Ranger in no time. Oh, for him, it's fine. For him, it's no problem at all because he'll be a kid. Gigimus Prime. It's not about being eccentric. It's the way that you're bringing it about. Because if you're going to make random comments in the chat and talk to different people in the chat, that's great. But when you tag me in every single one of them over and over and over and over and over again, and it's always the same stuff, again, it gets a little grating, man. That's all I'm saying. Again, talk to anyone in the chat and just post the comments if you want, but it's the tagging of me every time that you do it. Rob D says, what movies do you think Baby Thor will be dragging you to see in 10 years from now? Good Lord, man. If I raise him correctly, he'll be bringing me to watch the re-release and the 50th anniversary, 40th, 50th anniversary of Back to the Future. 70B, thank you for being here. Tina B in the chat. Wow, Tina B actually made it. Says, just got home. My hair looks great. I got to move from this stinking state. And Donnie Villa newbie. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. Oh, man. So Hardwick says, I highly recommend Bad in the Sun. Their fan films often portray the characters better than Hollywood movies. Their Batman actor is a live-action Kevin Conroy. Nice. Tina says, you can't please these stupid people in these stupid state. I hate our governor. I hate our fracking mayor. I hate Louisville. Yeah, Louisville. It's so freaking, yeah, the whole Breonna Taylor thing. Absolutely. And you know what? I know very little about the case, so I could not make a legitimate decision. However, based on what I heard, they had the right because at this time, when they did it, they did not need to knock before entering in to issue an arrest warrant. The guy that they were trying to arrest began shooting first, and they responded. Now, do I think that the law should be changed so that they have to knock before issuing an arrest warrant? For me, yes. And I think there's an argument that can be made on either side of it. But in that case, based on what I'm hearing, they went in to issue the warrant. They were shot at, they returned fire. And Breonna Taylor got killed in the crossfire. So it's a terrible thing that happened. From what I hear, it didn't sound like she did anything wrong. But at the same time, to say that the cops are guilty of murder, because again, I don't know what charges they were going for either, right? If it was negligence or something like that, maybe I could see them going that way. But if they're being convicted or the thought of is like the murder or negligent homicide or something, I don't know if there's enough there. Tina would probably know more about it since it is her own part of the state that she's very close to that part of the state. Tina then says, F our mayor so much, but my hair looks great. Well, at least your hair looks spectacular. I'm very happy to see that. Hyman says, say her name. Were these people trying to do me Heisenberg or something? Pretty much. Pretty much. Eric K says, Moon Over Parador is with Raul Julia, Richard Dreyfuss, and Sonia Braga. Not a great movie, but kind of fun and different. Very cool. Bruce says, Odin, our son, called us. Remember, I'm in Louisville to let us know he might end up being on duty for days without being able to go home because of this. That's freaking ridiculous. But because, as you can see, because logically, for anyone that actually has a brain and can think independently of emotion, the case doesn't really seem to be nearly as clear. And they think just because I have rage and just because I'm protesting and just because I'm causing chaos and riots, etc., that means I'm right. No, it doesn't, you idiots. And the fact that these idiots, if the case doesn't go their way, think the only way I can respond to it is by causing more chaos and leaving people's children, even if they're grown adults, from being able to return home after days is ridiculous. Pisses me off. Oh, that's just your white privilege speaking. Shut up. Nonsense. Alrighty. Hardwick says, the video about BLM's necromancy and connection talks about how say your name is a part of the ritual to summon the spirit of the dead person. That sounds more conspiratorial. Again, you might have words or comments from the founders that might say something to the other. The whole say your name thing, that's, again, most people that are saying it are not thinking, I'm going to summon the spirit of the dead person. They're doing it because it's an easy thing to say. If I know anything about these crowds, most of the people in these crowds who are yelling things and yelling chants typically are uneducated people who are only chanting it because that's all they can handle. just putting it out there. And let's see. Blank says, if Baby Thor starts to request Snyder movies, is that when you research boarding schools? Yep. That's when I need to start having some re-education in my own home. Nathan Slay, white privilege, my butt, damn right. And then Eric K says, it's all father privilege. Yes, it's all father privilege. Absolutely. Will Gentry says, we are in a clown world. We truly are. He says, on the Louisville style of lunacy, did you hear that 20% of people at the CDC want to declare racism as a national health crisis? Are you kidding me? Guys, racism, it's a health crisis. No, it's not. It's a cultural problem. It's a cultural issue. It's not a health issue. Gosh. Phonemo, thank you. West Side Story. Yes, that's the one that I was looking for. So Spielberg is remaking West Side Story. So yeah, I don't think that he's in his good mind saying anything. Or Spielberg has the brains to take over Hollywood because he's making some pretty bad movies recently. But anyway, that is going to be a wrap for me. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. And appreciate y'all all for being here. So let me go ahead and pull up my YouTube members who are at the Army of Asgard level and above. They get shouted out at the end of every single live stream that I do. So a huge shout out to Bruce, Andrew Hoyle, Eric K, Orange Chat Reviews, Adam Avery, Latino Slant, The Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, Jay Stowe, and Aiden Vickery. You are freaking awesome and amazing. Miami Eddie says TDS is a health crisis. Even then, more of a mental issue. Eric K, take care, everyone. Glad to see you here. Bruce Odin, I actually put together a self-defense go bag because of all this nonsense. That is crazy. The fact that we live in a world and we live in states and cities now where we have to be afraid of police either, one, not doing their job because a mayor or someone else has told them not to, or two, that the cops can sometimes be overrun by the nonsense that we're seeing is so freaking ridiculous. Really ticks me off. Super says, thanks for hosting another great stream. Have a great rest of your night and see you next week. See you Friday Night Tights. Yeah, so the next time you'll see me is on Friday Night Tights this Friday. Of course, unless a birth happens. But again, we don't really know when that could happen. But Bruce, you're amazing. Thank you for being here. And Bruce, I will indeed be praying for you and your family. Again, anyone praying for you, Tina, as well. This is just so freaking ridiculous. And I really do hope that the right decision's made in that case. I don't want the decision that's going to make everyone happy. I want the decision that is the right decision. And that's what these idiots can't understand, is that in a court of law, there is a correct decision and there is an incorrect decision. And to me, any decision that is based on emotion and not facts and data is an incorrect decision. But again, that's just my take. What would I know? I'm just a cis white male, whatever the hell that means. So anyway, you all have a wonderful evening, everyone. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I love you guys. Have a wonderful night. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my September Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, DivX, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Intertrap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Lady T, Laura the Modern Major General Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B. Thank you very much for being my supporters over on Patreon. And to my Subscribe Star members, stand for John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Addams, and the K-Man. Thank you so very much for being my supporters over on Subscribestar, and a shout out to all of my supporters on both platforms. If you yourself want to get your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, please consider joining on Patreon or Subscribestar. You can also get access to exclusive giveaways, to an exclusive podcast that I do twice a month with my friend John the Flick Pig Flickinger, where we talk about just random stuff going on in the movies, our reviews, and also we take Q&A questions from everyone as well in those categories. So if you would like to have any of those things or access to them, or even the biggest of them all, to be one of my chosen of Valhalla and get a t-shirt during your first month, and also have access to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, please consider checking that out in the links in the description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.